Welcome to Series 3 of the Callisto Grand Big Change podcast. In this series, we explore and reveal the personal and professional sides of senior executives from large companies. Reaching the top in any field is never straightforward, requiring many years of personal investment and dedication. I'm Mark Harrison, founder of Callisto Grand. Over there in Hungary is my colleague Esther Gabriel. And today we meet Sven Lindemann, the CEO of Serrala. Serrala is a global B2B fintech software company supporting organizations seeking efficient cash visibility and secure financial processes. With offices in Europe, North America, Asia, and the Middle East, and over 700 employees and a key SAP partner, Serrala supports over 2,500 companies worldwide with advanced technology, intelligent automation, and personalized consulting. So, good morning, Sven.
Hey, good morning. So, how are you?
Very good, very good. Nice to see you.
Nice meeting you.
So the Serrala head office is in Hamburg. Is that your hometown?
Yeah. So I grew up in the suburbs from Hamburg. But when people ask me where do you live, I always say I live in Hamburg. So it's too complicated to explain where the suburbs and what the name of those villages are.
So what are your recollections of your early days when you were growing up?
You mean where do I grew up, or what have I done in my early days?
Yeah, you live near obviously you grew up near the sea. So what kind of schooling and weekends and so on? What was a little bit of background?
Yeah, so I grew up. I was always big in sports. I played. I'm not sure if you know that sport. It's called handball. So it's 7 against 7 with a goalie. So that was my sport from when I was 6 years old till I was till I think 4 years ago. So that was my big thing when I was a young kid. So I went to normal schools. So I grew up with I have a sister. So I grew up together with her at home. So my mother was taking care of us. My father was founding a company called Hansa Orga that is today called Serrala. So that was how I grew up.
Was it kind of a given that you were going to follow in the family business?
Yeah. So I today say there was a big portion of luck that we had. So my sister and I. So my father, as I mentioned before, founded that company. So for him, it was always his dream that my sister and I will come into that company, will work for that company. And then when we were both at school, my sister studied informatics. So I made my education at a bank on the one hand side from a business banker, and on the other side as a software developer. So I made two educations. And then we both joined Hansa Orga or Serrala, and it's called today. I came in here as a software developer. My sister was a product manager, and for my father's dream came true. So that sounds a bit bold, but at the end, that's what he was always looking for. So he wanted to have his kids in his environment, and wanted to avoid that we leave our hometown, that we go somewhere in the world, work somewhere in the world, and have no connectivity to our parents anymore. So I lose the connection to our parents anymore, and that's what he with us in that moment.
Okay. When you being part of the company, and obviously your father being prominent, did that put other pressures on you? And were you mindful of the fact people were going, yeah, his dad's the boss kind of thing? Were you mindful of that, or was there extra pressure on you to work even harder, maybe, or to prove yourself more?
Yeah, so I joined the company in 1994. So at that time I was 22 years old. So I knew a lot of the people working for this company since years, because when we had company events and my father took us as his kids with him to those events, I knew everybody. So we met everybody. So I think clearly in the beginning, and that's how it was, people saw me as a colleague. I was not the boss. I was not the boss for the future. So I was really a colleague for them, and I tried not to let them feel it in that way, that I will be at one day maybe the boss for that company. So for me, it was always important to have a good relationship to the people, and this is still important for me. And I think I still have this relationship with many of those people. They worked here when I joined the company, and they still work here today.
your journey then through school, did you go to university as well? Did you study?
I started studying, and I stopped that after 6 months, because I found out for myself that's nothing for me. So I was at that moment not disciplined enough. So I enjoyed life a lot, and for me it was better the setting to go to a bank, to have a clear structure where I made my education. So that was easier. So it was funny at that time, before, when I stopped studying and before I started the journey being a banker. I started. I was working at a pizza service. And then I bought those pizza service from the owner at that time, and I ran my own pizza service for 12 months. So that was an interesting journey. So today I always say, yeah, I'm not interested in building pizza services, but I had at the end 12 months of pizza service, and that was a very interesting part of my life. So I had some interesting learnings out of that time when it comes to how to learn to work together with people, and how to make sure you can rely on people, and you can. So I think this is a very tough business, this pizza service or restaurant business. So you learn a lot when you do that.
I would have thought so. I mean, there's a lot in that, isn't there? I mean, it's the supply chain. You got a whole bunch of products you got to get to. It's a very small profit margin, very dynamic. You got to act quickly. I think that I'm going to say I bet there was a lot of takeaways from that, but please forgive the pun for saying that. Right? That was, But yeah, no, I can see that was a very good grounding, I should think. Yeah. So really you didn't go to formal further education, but you studied at the University of Life, really. So doing that and banking as well. I mean, that's that can be pretty tough too, can't it? It's not a forgiving industry.
But it was a very nice. It was a very nice education. So when I had the luck to make my education here at a small northern German bank, so which is in the meanwhile now integrated in the UniCredit group. But it was a very good education. We had the luck being with 12 other trainees and in one program for 2.5 years. It was a very, very strong education. So it was really fun. It was really good.
In the 90s, and from my own recollection, it was a very exciting time for technology, because there was so many. It was new, right? When we were just finding the internet, the intranet, email is in its early days. Even really kind of system networks were still pretty basic back then, weren't they? So, and you being a young man at that time, did you kind of sense that you were in, very much in some kind of pioneering environment? Did that?
So it would be easy for me to say no, yes, but it was not at all the case, honestly. So I could not imagine. So I understood the power of technology. I understood what you can move with software, what you can automate with software. So I understood that. So also due to the fact what my father developed in the company. So one of the first products he developed was for a bank for small loans for private people, for loan acceptance or loan approval in 1 minute. So at that time, if you remember, it was normal when you were going to a bank and asked for a loan, it took you 2 to 3 weeks to get an approval from a bank. And they developed for a German bank a software where you can go to a bank, to a branch, and say, okay, I need a loan on 10,000, and this could be approved in 1 minute by the system. So I understood that, but when this whole internet started and emailing thing, so I honestly, I could not imagine from the first moment on that's how our technology today, how our solutions today will be in the cloud, and we all can benefit on that. So that was for me not clear from the first moment on.
It was an exciting time, and I do actually I started working in a bank as well, like 10 years before the time you're talking about, and I can remember having people fill out those forms and send it off.
And I did that as well. I did that.
Manual rating and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's taking a long time. I do that. Yes, happy days. I think. Was there a time then, as you were going through the banking and your one eye kind of returning to Hans Auger at the time. But was there a time perhaps when you felt really rebellious and you thought, no, I'm going to go do something else, completely left field? Is it not going to work in that area?
Yeah. So, and if you would ask my mother, she could tell you a lot of stories. So when I finished, when I finished one school level, I remember. So I was not at all in the beginning interested going into this industry. When I was 16, I had the idea I want to work in a restaurant. I want to get a chef at one day. So that was my, and I wrote applications, sent them out to different hotels and restaurants already. But then I remember pretty good. I had another friend who did that, and he told me what were his working hours on the weekend and everything. And then I said, okay, no, I will not do that as well. And that triggered me then, okay, stay in school and finish school. So like it was planned. No, so I was, that was for sure not when I was 15, 16, 17, it was not my intention and not my idea. And then I haven't had the big picture to say I will end up one day as a CEO in Serrala.
Probably wise advice though, not to work kind of 24 hours a day dedicated to it. Yeah. So you kind of touched on it just then, but were there personal mentors and influences that you still recall today? So somebody that was really kind of put their arm around your shoulder and steered you.
Yeah. So on one side, for sure, my father. We worked really together for, I would say it was at the end from 1994 to 2011. And I can really say we had interesting discussions during that time, but he was always a mentor for me to help me to come into this company, to let also myself, also my sister, do things like we wanted to do it, and he was good in giving it to us and say, okay, do it in the way you want to do it, and ask me if you need help. So that was one big piece. And the other person was a former managing director we had in the 90s who brought me in. So I came out of a bank, so my background was clearly this cash management, cash forecasting side, and then we had a managing director at that time in Hans Auger who was more on the accounting side, and he pushed me more into that direction, and that's today one of our biggest strengths, so process automation and finance and accounting. So that was for sure a very important piece. So those, I would say those two people were important for me for the development into that business life.
Okay. And then, so over the last 25 years or so since you've been connected to the business, what would you say have been the biggest areas of change?
For us as a company or overall in the industry?
Probably both. Well, let's start with Serrala, Hans Auger, Serrala, and then the industry at large.
Yeah. So I always say we had as Serrala we have 2-3 milestones where we got the right decisions. So and sometimes you need a bit luck as well to make the right decisions, and that was for us. The partnership, I say, in the end of 90s, we did together with SAP. So where we decided to develop together with SAP and SAP add-ons, and where we could bring benefit to the SAP ecosystem. So the second piece was the internationalization of the business, where we decided to grow at that time Hans Auger internationally. And then the third piece was the decision when we decided to grow, and then more inorganically together with a partner like we did then with Waterland. So I think those are the 3 decisions where I can say those were the key drivers into the right direction we had in our business.
As we touched on a little while back, there's many changes in the technology world, well documented. But which of the old ways would you say are still relevant?
What do you mean with old ways?
I mean, like about certain practices that you were doing when you left school, your father was doing, and were probably good habits that will still stay relevant in 100 years from now, probably as well.
What I could see pretty good during so we we decided we were a 100% family-owned business till 2016. Then we decided to let in an investor and to grow this business with organic growth and organic growth. So do M&A. So one thing that I see is the most important piece, and I have the luck to work with people around me. They see that as well, is to be always the reliable partner for your people that I learned from my father. So my father was excellent in that. So he was really taking care of his people. So when people had stress in the business life, had stress also in personal environment, he tried to help them as good as he could, and also as long as the people were open for that support. So and we tried to hold this spirit alive. So I think this is something where I would see the old days are. So when you see this, all this fancy startups that are coming into play, it's a lot of discussions around work-life balance and everything. But sometimes what I see is a missing piece where you say, okay, you can say you have the greatest work-life environment and your company, but on the other side, how is it really lived in an organization? And that's what we try as Serrala to hold that alive. You cannot always hold it alive. Sometimes you have to make decisions where you say, okay, normally 20 years ago you would have decided that different. But I think we try to hold this company alive as a family-run business, and also if we are now 700 people.
That was a really nice reply, and I think what comes through with that, I was making some notes. I think we were talking about it's hard work. There's no getting away from that, is there? You were touching on the work-life balance, and when you're building a company, it's more work, and the life bit comes later. Yeah, it's
yeah.
And the other qualities I felt you were representing there, and they're so important. It's integrity, honesty, and empathy for your client. To really understand your customer. What is it? It's all about them, really, and you're helping them to achieve what they want to achieve, rather than you saying this is what we do. It's a close relationship, isn't it? And that's what people buy people at the end of the day. Don't they?
Yeah, I fully agree. So, and that's what also drove us. So we are here, we are there where we are today due to the fact that we developed our solution together always with customers. We listened into the market. Our initial product was a product for cash management, for treasury management. Then one customer came and said, okay, you're processing bank statements. Can you not help me to bring those statements into my accounting system? So that was the next level. That's how we developed our cash application. Then another customer came and asked us, okay, you have a manual payment functionality. Can you not help us to build a payment hub where we are able to collect payments from all over the world? That's how we developed our payment solution. And that's piece by piece how we developed our solution. And I think that's also why our solution's so strong. It's not that I say, or our solution designers say, that's how a solution has to be, and then we develop that. We are developing solutions together with customers. And then when we develop them with customer, those are the solutions developed for the market, for the requirements of the business.
That's probably the best way to build, isn't it? Because you're learning from them, they're learning from you. We none of us know everything, do we? And I'm sure your colleagues are picking up lots of good ideas, like you said. Can we match bank statements to the ERP? So and if you're looking out for those opportunities, that's how that and you're empathetic to them, that's how you build relationships, isn't it? Okay. Going forward then, and it something I guess I speak for a little bit from personal experience as well. It's not many people, I think, can sustain the kind of role that you have. You're constantly traveling, you have ultimate responsibility for the success of the business, for your employees. There must be times when you think, I don't want to play today. I don't want to do this. But so how do you motivate yourself and your teams in those moments?
So I can tell you about myself. So I really like what I'm doing. So this is for me. This is for me fun. I cannot imagine don't do that anymore, honestly. So it is. I like travel. I like those conferences. I like so maybe my wife and my kids do not always like that as I do that. So sometimes they do not like it when I leave the house on Sundays or sometimes on Saturdays, or when I came home at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening and have a telco at 10 o'clock with the US. So, but at the end, that's what keeps me motivated to see things moving, to see things going and growing. That is my biggest. That's my biggest motivation, for sure. There are also points where you say, "Hey guys," and I think 2020 was one of those years. So I'm personally. I'm a people person, so I have to meet with people. I have to mingle with people. So I like meeting our employees, our customers on conference, having in the evening drinks at the bar with them. So and all of that was out in 2020. So everything was closed. We were not able to meet with each other. So that was sometimes frustrating. So during the first lockdown, I was the only person here in the office for 3 months. So there was nobody besides me here for 3 months in the whole office. So it was sometimes really frustrating when you open it up. But honestly, I think other people are much harder impacted than I. So I had the chance to go into the office and sit here. So other people lived in 2-3 room apartments with 2-3 kids. So for them it's much harder. So I will really not complain. But what I want to say is that my motivation comes from doing business, doing stuff, doing things together, developing solutions together with customers, with employees. So change things, work on this new technology environment, develop new solutions that coming into market. Also now with COVID-19. So the whole world is changing even faster into this e-commerce business now. So and we have a lot of changes coming into also large multinational organizations. They in the past always sold their stuff via retailers and now have to think about how they can sell that via own e-commerce businesses. And their business will change dramatically because in the past they always have to deal with B2B. Now they deal with B2C. So they receive payments from B2C. They have no processes for that in place. So all of that, I think, is the right motivation to say what will we do next. But for me, it's also an important point to see light at the horizon when we will go back to normal and meet up with colleagues, meet with customers, travel again. So that's a very important point.
I think it comes through that your passion and your enthusiasm for the job and for the people around you. And I think it's the energy that kind of you give to other people and then other people give energy to you, and that's what keeps you going. Yeah, it's that kind of mutual thing, isn't it? So you feed off the initiatives and the excitement of other people as well, which, as you said, even we're now working like this all the time through cameras, I think it's still important, isn't it, to remember that some people are having a tough time, and it's probably an obligation on the part of us all, isn't it, to help each other, to give each other a lift, and to hang in there together. Yeah. So perhaps continuing down that theme, then you mentioned handball earlier. Are there other ways that you kind of chill out, decompress? You're not the chief executive.
Yeah. So I'm now with 48 years old. I'm getting too old to playing handball. So I played golf as well. So since I think 8 years now, that's what I'm enjoying a lot as well. So being out in the fresh air and really, and maybe you play golf as well. So it's a good point to free up your mind to say, okay, I have to come down and be out for 2-3 hours. So that's what I'm doing. I'm skiing so as often as possible. And I have 4 kids. So I have my oldest daughter is 17. My smallest son is 2.5. So they hold me up as well.
Keep you grounded as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
No airs and graces with the 2-year-old.
There's no other chance to be grounded.
From the children perspective, to have all those different age groups, teenagers and 2-year-olds. So that's I think that answers my question nicely, and it's a miracle you probably get out to play golf, I should think, when you can.
Absolutely. That's a great chance to be out. So that's what I think. What the mix is, you have to be able to play right. You have to be there for your family. You have to take sometimes for yourself, and to make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. And there's a company, so it's a 24-hour job, but it's fun. So
keeps you that keeps you busy. I can see that. If you could sit down and maybe have a beer with the 18-year-old Sven, what kind of career or life advice would you give, or would you do anything different? That kind of thing.
So the only point where I can really say what I would do different is I would tell my 18-year-old Sven that what I never did. I was never, when I was in school or later, I was never in another country for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So that's what my suggestion for my kids now is, and what would be definitely the suggestion for the 18-year-old Sven would be. So that's the point. I think for myself, that was a mistake that I have not done that when I was younger. So I'm doing that now. So due to the business, I'm traveling the world. So I see the world. That's great to see. But so I think those are great. So my wife did that. So it's a great. Everything I hear are great experiences.
I recognize what you said there very much. I think do you still find, even at the age that you are, that you said, do you still find that you go to other countries and you go, wow, I'm in France or Czech Republic or wherever you happen to be? Do you still do that? Because I do.
I had that in the beginning a lot. So I remember pretty good when we started 2010, 2011 to move this company over to the US. So to grow this company in the US, for me it was always. So I spent 7 to 10 days a month in the US. So for me it was always great to be there. But getting now bigger and bigger as a company, it is more and more the way you travel and out into a city, don't see really the city where you are. So going to conferences, to meetings. So I know all the airports, but less the cities. so
that's the downside, isn't it? You see lots of hotel rooms, don't you? And
absolutely.
But I still remember like being in working in Paris for a while, and I was leaving my hotel and going to the office and seeing the Arc de Triomphe and going, that's not a bad journey to work. Things like that.
100% agree. 100%. What I always try, if I see a nice city where I say, okay, here should go to, then I try to travel there with my family. So afterwards, I say, okay, here we should go. So for example, Washington, I was on a conference in Washington. Then afterwards, I traveled with my older kids, and with a 17-year-old daughter and 15-year-old son. I traveled together with my father to Washington because I was pretty impressed by Washington. So that's what we've done then.
Okay, so we're kind of getting near to the end. It's been a really interesting conversation, but what are your personal hopes and dreams for the future? Let's say for the company and for yourself, or for
From a personal perspective, I think, especially these days, we have to be careful that we are staying healthy. We have to make sure that we are staying healthy so that my whole family stays healthy. So that's for me the most important piece. And so I want to see growing my kids up. So doing the right things. Not for me, it's not important that they all go studying XYZ. So for me, it's important that they shall enjoy like I did their life, and then at one point they will go into business. So that's how it is. And then from a company perspective, I think there are great things in front of us. So we have that whole shift into the cloud as a business. So we're as you know, focused in the SAP tech space. We are also very much focused in the non-ERP agnostic space. So we are coming out. We came out last year, and we're coming out this year with additional new cloud solutions. So I think this whole 21, 22, 23 will be dominated by offering new solutions in the cloud, by combining the SAP, the ERP worlds with the cloud, so creating hybrid environments. And I think everything will be dominated by security, by fraud prevention, by transparency, so digitization. So all those things will be key triggers for company. So seeing both of that in parallel, we are as a family. I personally, I look very much forward to the coming year.
It's certainly very exciting times ahead, isn't there? And I think that's That's a really positive and inspiring place to finish. So, Sven, thank you very much indeed for your time today. It's been a real privilege talking to you and sharing more about yourself. Thanks very much indeed.
It was a pleasure. It was really nice doing that. Thank you very much.